yeah, Impala can play a hell of a lot of champions. You know, he's got a very, very wide jungle champion pool, like you said. And I think there are bans that are probably far better than targeting the jungle. Although the jungle's got a massive impact, there's probably some bans that they want to make sure don't go through they don't go through this time around, so they don't get caught out. Rek'Sai is probably enough for them to ban out. Gnar does get banned out here, and Urgot is also going out. So they're not going to see the similar competition coming out from Infused, but it's completely changed the ban lineup of FM. And LeBlanc has not been banned. So LeBlanc is up for Ziviz if he wants it.
It is, but so is the Kalista. So Scott's going to lock in that Kalista. We saw Toaster play it in Game 1. It was banned out in Game 2 by Infused. So Scott are going to... by FM, sorry. No, by Infused. So Scott is going to pick it up this time. Kunsk does play that Annie quite well as well, and we are on patch 5.8, so Annie still has that long auto-attack range. Do you think we'll see it?
Maybe. This is a really, really good pickup here for Xaxus against the Kalista. Point-and-click CC against Kalista is probably one of the only ways you really lock her down. And Maokai probably has some of the best point-and-click CC in the game.
It's the same against LeBlanc as well. Yeah. If you can lock her down as she distorts in and out, if you can lock Kalista down as she uses that Master of Poise, you're very, very strong. And LeBlanc is picked up for Ulfrin.
Yeah, so Ulfrin. But there's things that FM can pick up to counteract this. He could play Kassadin. We haven't seen it yet, but he could definitely play Kassadin.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, Kassadin is strong, but has a very particular position in the meta at the moment. He's nowhere near the Season 3 Kassadin uber powerful mid laner that we used to see.
Oh, God, no. But the Koreans play him very aggressively. They go for that early blasting wand and then just look to get a lot of AP on the board and try and bully their lane out. Now, here we go. Nunu. I did say he could potentially pick up the Nunu here for Nutri. It works very well with the Kalista. The increased attack speed and movement speed is really powerful for Kalista. Oh, it's going to be Vladimir and Lulu, though. So protection here, I think, for Sir Scott is what we're going for. And they're going to go for a similar composition that we've seen them play previously.
Janna snuck through the picks and bans again, so I wouldn't be surprised if Wawa picks that one up for himself. Toaster does still have that Civet Jinx available as well. You could play a tanky frontline perhaps with Sejuani's gone through, so Sejuani, Maokai, Jinx, Janna, LeBlanc. That's a pretty good lineup right there.
Yep, definitely Jinx is still on the cards. Toaster can play a very, very good Jinx. I mean, Toaster can play a hell of a lot of AD carries. So, you know, we've seen him stick to a very small roster usually of Kalista and Lucian, but you've just seen him pull out on Urgot. Definitely seen him play Jinx to great success from time to time. And there you go, going straight for the Jinx. Third game in a row for Wawa on that Janna too. So why fix what isn't broken in that bot lane? He's always done well. And I think the bot lane of Infused has generally tended to do better in all of these games in the bot lane from FM, just because Quinsk has really struggled to make an impact in the early games. So he's fell behind on gold, hasn't been able to become that tanky sort of semi-front line that the Nautilus can be, and then there you go. We're going to have to wait now for the final pickups for FM. Is this going to be Lulu mid, or is this going to be Lulu support? Obviously, they are playing Lulu mid in Korea. It is something that, you know, makes her wild growth more viable if you get more AP behind it, but very easily could go over to support too. So
I'm trying to think of what support you'd pick on FM if you were going to run that Lulu mid. Nautilus still available, but Kunsk, as you said, hasn't had the best of times on that. The Annie is up. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for an Annie just so they can get onto that Jinx in the back line, get that Fate's Call into Tibbers. It can be very, very strong. Yeah,
I mean, it's probably the most aggressive lane you can pick up with a Kalista. It will be Nautilus again. So supports, 100% records on their chosen supports across every game, got the picks that they wanted. It is a very good lane, Kalista Nautilus. If you can land that hook onto Jinx, gives you a hell of a lot of time to just land as many Ren stacks as possible. Yeah, and Nutri on probably one of his better junglers, that Nunu. He's actually played it a load in the UK scene, and everyone kind of knows Nutri for playing a very, very good Nunu. But Impala going back onto that Evelyn, we saw how impactful he was last game, and I think Ziviz is going to have to be very careful. I think he's realized that both games he's been camped. Both games it's been very early that the camps come out. And Ulfrin obviously managing to get early leads in both games. Wasn't as effective with his early lead on the Victor, but horrendously effective with that Ahri. And he's going to go on the LeBlanc. We've seen Ulfrin play LeBlanc a few times before this season. He's been very, very powerful on it.
He can be very strong in it. I think Ziviz has a little bit of a safer lane against Impala this time, just because Lulu has that whimsy, has the help picks to keep herself shielded up, has the glitter lance as well. So it's a bit safer for him as opposed to that Orianna pick where we saw him getting locked down time and time and time again. But Impala had such map pressure, had such awareness of where he needed to position in the last game. Nutri's really going to need to be on the ball about when he wants to counter gank and when he wants to try and deny vision.
I wouldn't be
Impaler.
surprised if Infused tried to pull out a lane swap here.
Yeah.
I really don't think they're going to be too keen on keeping Jinx in a lane with Kalista. Now, early on, Jinx does pretty well against Kalista because you can just outrange her with that fish bones, but the longer it goes, the more threat there is of Nautilus landing a hook, and yeah, it's a little bit more difficult for that lane to survive. Obviously, Wawa can peel quite effectively, but we'll have to see. I think a lane swap potentially is on the cards. Maokai is very good in the 2v1, and you have the added bonus of shutting down the Vladimir as well.
We are on to the Rift here. FM Esports versus Infused. It's 1-1 in this second semi-final today. Earlier today, we saw Choke Gaming taking a 2-0 victory versus Rift Gaming, and they will be facing off in the finals tomorrow. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be a great day of League of Legends and some Counter-Strike action after that as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But FM playing defensively once more at the start. It's what you expect. So Scott has just taken a little bit of time to get out of base, but shouldn't be any problems there at all. Both teams defensive in the start. It's what we expect from this. It's best of 3. It's the game 3. You want to make sure that you aren't losing out any early objectives, any early advantages. Got
a good tower push from the Infused lineup as well. I mean, when you have a Janna Jinx, it's all about tower push. They can get picks with Impaler, Xaxus, and Ulfrin, and then they can snowball picks into small skirmishes or then into picking up towers. If you manage to pick off a key target, you know, Toaster on Jinx and Wawa giving him the backup AD are going to make short work of turrets.
There's quite a big ability for FM Esports to scale into this late game. Kalista with Nunu Blood Boil and with help picks from Ziviz is going to be very, very strong. And we've seen how good Sir Scott's mechanics are in the last couple of games. He picked up that Quadra on Lucian. Last game didn't have quite as good a time as he'd like to on that Sivir, but he's a very strong AD carry. I wonder if we get to a 30-minute mark, a 35-minute mark, are Infused going to be able to deal with a Kalista who's just hopping all over the place?
It really depends on how close Ulfrin and Xaxus can get to him. If Ulfrin and Xaxus can get in range, you know, LeBlanc can make very short work of Kalista, as can Xaxus because he locks it up. Speaking of Kalista, though, Toaster will be the recipient of a... Well, I think he just threw a spear into the floor there, but will be the recipient of a couple of auto attacks. He'll back off fairly safely, though. Early days means he'll get back to lane just fine, but no lane swap coming out here, so they are going to go and chance this into a 2v2 situation.
The lane swap for both of the top laners wouldn't have been too much of an issue. Tundra on Vlad can sustain pretty well. Farm under tower as well with that Tides of Blood. Not the best, but he's all right. And then Xaxus, of course, Maokai is actually sometimes even better if you have a lot of people around it because you're getting extra procs on that passive, on the sap magic. But looks like it, as you said, it is just going to be 2v2. Both of the bot lanes are taking away their respective camps, so it's going to be Gromp for Toaster and Wawa, and the Krugs for Sir Scott and Kuntz. And we do see, actually, Xaxus is going to take away these Razor Beaks, and Evelyn, Impaler, is starting on his own red buff, so just giving as much of this jungle away to his teammates to try and get them ahead in lane.
Yeah, and you're seeing a very heavy AP composition coming out from Infused, so, you know, I imagine that it is going to be another early locket coming out from Impaler after his first item, or even coming out from Xaxus, but that kind of delays the Maokai build that you want to see. Level 2 hit by Toaster.
So much damage on Pink. The Flame Chopper comes down, he's going to walk into them as well, and Toaster and Wawa put a lot of damage down.
Mid lane though.
Yeah, mid lane. Ziv is pressuring Ulfrin, has popped that Ignite already. Ulfrin does still have his own available, had burnt the flash there. This is quite interesting because I wouldn't be surprised if Impaler skips going for his blue buff and actually comes around for a gank here.
I think he needs to, though. Ziviz probably knows it's on the card, so he's trying to be a little bit more careful, but forcing the flash like he does early, Impaler is in position for that here. He potentially comes. He's really, really just struggling to get in there. I think they know that they probably won't pick anything up. It needs to be level 3 before the chains come down. There is the level 3 for Ulfrin. Impaler hasn't yet picked up that blue buff. It's very good, though, because against the Nunu, you want to delay your buff. So taking that red buff kind of delays or makes the red buff earlier than Nutri would expect. And then delaying that blue buff means that Nutri can't invade the blue buff on the second rotation as easily because they won't know the timing. So very intelligent jungle play coming out from Impaler.
Yeah, Nutri yet to do his own red as well, so he'll be able to rotate down towards that and pick it up at any point that he wants. Looks like it's just going to back away now. We do see Impaler making sure that he solidifies both those buffs before he decides to back away, just because gives you that little advantage. Even decides not to take out this Sentinel. Now that he has the path of it, he knows how to avoid it, and it means that you don't give any awareness of the map across to the enemy team. Yes, Impaler was there, but the Sentinel didn't spot him out. Didn't even if you clear it, it spots you out because you're clearing it out. And Flametropper's going to go down. Toaster putting some pressure onto Sir Scott. A little bit of advantage actually for Toaster and Wawa in this bottom lane. I mean, usually they're not ahead in CS by this point.
No, they are having a good time. Jinx does pretty well against Kalista if you manage to get the early jump on her with the fishbone. It's only as you go a little bit later and the damage stacks up on Nautilus that it becomes a little bit more of a problem for Toaster. But as you can see, they already have the early advantage in this lane, so not too bad for the Infused boys. And Toaster now just starting to be a little bit more careful about how he goes about this lane.
And that he is pretty close all round in the early portion of this game. Tundra and Zaz is just farming up a Storm in the top lane. Double door into Zaz once more. That's what we tend to see him build. And Impaler just rotating around his topside jungle. He's a little bit behind in XP over Nutri, which is what we expect, but never really going to fall too far behind on that Evelyn. Kunz Scott putting a bit of pressure onto Wawa and Toaster, who are willing to give up a bit of awareness of this lane just to make sure they don't get attacked by any junglers. Nutri's still farming. He's going to clear out this pink ward though, so denying a little bit of vision away from the Infused lineup. Yeah,
the problem with putting the pink ward down first means that if there is their pink ward in from the enemy team, they know that you've put a pink ward in there.
Nutri is getting caught in the ethereal chains, and Impaler flashes the ward. That is a dead mid laner. Lulu goes down. Nutri does get a counter kill. He's got both of his buffs still running, so he'll get some damage done onto Impaler, but with the first blood going across towards Impaler, it's going to get him towards that warrior entrant even quicker. Tundra taking a little bit of pressure from Zaz's, but going to be able to sustain up through that with the transfusion.
Yeah, again, Zib is getting caught out by Impaler early on in the lane. Ulfrin managing to be aggressive, but it's a kill for a jungler, a kill on the jungler for a kill on the jungler, so that's not too bad. It's just trading the jungle kills. Obviously, you'd give kills to Evelyn every single day over Nunu, but that's just how it's going. And Impaler heading up towards his top lane. Zaz's going very aggressive. Tundra knows something's up now.
Yeah, he needs to be careful. He has got that flash available. He's going to pop the Sanguine Pool first, then flash away. Dragon goes down, but the Arcane Smash is going to hit onto Tundra. He's going to get chased down. Hate Spikes. One more Hate Spikes will be enough. Impaler picks up the kill, but he might go down here. No. Yes.
Three minion attacks.
Oh, it's not enough. Impaler survives on about 10 HP there, just about able to get out alive. They do lose the Dragon for it though. Nutri picking up on the fact Impaler was on the top side of the map, along with Sir Scott and Kunz to pick up that Dragon.
Yeah. Early Dragon right there. You've got a good Dragon taking team in the form of Nunu and Sir Scott and Kalista. Yeah, essentially this is okay for Sir Scott because even though Toaster and Wawa had the early pressure in lane, they've managed to survive this one out. And you know, the later this goes, the better it is. They've got a very hard engaged bot lane. A bot lane that can burst very easily. They can probably just ignore Janna for the most part because they know that she's not going to be too much of a threat. And then just try and focus all of their resources into taking down Toaster. They're going to back off here. 1,600 gold in the bag. Probably going to be an early BF, if not an early Cutlass here for Sir Scott. But I'd imagine the BF. Yep, there we go.
Both the kills going across towards Impaler on this Evelyn is not a bad thing at all for Infused. He needs to get that warrior enchant. He's got double long swords and boots already. So he's going to have even more presence on the map in this early game. And if he can start focusing down certain lanes, we've seen how effective he can be at shutting down a lane completely. Ziviz in the last game absolutely did nothing. Even when he hit 3-man shockwaves, wasn't doing anything for his team at all. If he can do that perhaps to Tundra in the top lane who's got double amp tome, or perhaps if he goes down towards bot and tries to shut down Sir Scott, he can definitely put the pressure on here against FM. Nutri's going to try and rotate around towards dealing away this red buff, but Impaler's already taking that for himself.
Yeah, Impaler taking out. Like you said, Nutri didn't know that it was going to be as early as it was, and that's a prime example of why Impaler took that off the map first. It meant that Nutri was trying to react to when he thought the jungle red buff would have respawned, but unfortunately, you know, it was up far earlier than he anticipated. And then he's also potentially going to try and look for the blue buff, but that won't be coming up for another few minutes yet. And yeah, nice work by Impaler just to delay and change the timings of these buff spawns.
The classical thing that we see FM doing here against an Evelyn is deep warding. You have to try and get wards as deep into the enemy jungle as possible because that's where you'll spot out the Evelyn. By the time she gets to you, she'll be invisible. There's no point warding in river.
Exactly.
There's no point warding just the entrance to your lane. You have to ward deep in the enemy jungle so you can spot her out when she's not in this invisible form.
Warding camps is really good to keep a track on Evelyn. You ward near that Wraith, the Raptor area rather, the Razorbeak area, and you should have a good idea. And they've got a ward on the Golem camp as well, or rather the Krug camp. Impaler himself is looking to go aggressive into Nutri's jungle. He is level 6. Nutri going to walk straight past him. Here is Impaler.
There's the red buff proc onto Nutri as well. He's going to try and join the fray. Zivus is here, has that blue buff already. Pops the wild growth, he's already low, but the nice Agnes Blade is going to give him a huge shield. Here comes Ulfrid, he's going to get some damage down to Nutri. The ignite might be enough.
Oh,
Mega Death Rocket from across the map. And Toaster picks up the kill. That was beautifully timed there by Infused.
Yeah, again, nice bit of team play and nice coordination from Toaster on Jinx. Now, I feel like FM kind of forgot about Jinx. Jinx is still that AD carry that once she gets ahead will just absolutely carry the game.
She got a blue buff out of that as well.
Yeah, crazy. Really good because it allows you can just spam Fishbones, completely outrange Sir Scott. Like I said, Sir Scott needs to get the engage from Quince to make this lane work. And right now, Sir Scott is not in a position to do anything about that. He's too low. He'll just get taken down very easily.
Really, really strong there for Toaster, actually picking up that blue buff with the snipe across the map. He's got 800 gold, so he can go back and get a Vamp Scepter if he wants, or he can build towards that Infinity Edge, which is what I expect Toaster to go for. Gets so much damage onto Scott. He wants to stay in lane. He wants to utilize this blue buff as much as he can. He's still got 2 pots and 2 mana potions as well, and there are no pots left on Sir Scott. So the longer that Kalista stays in lane, the more dangerous it is for him. Yeah,
Tundra just going toe-to-toe with Zazas. Zazas popping that ultimate for harass. Sir Scott and Quince maybe having to back off a little bit here. There is no way that Impaler has been seen, so they had to be very careful. The ultimate from Toaster is very nearly up. I think they're probably going to wait for that to be available, and then they're going to try and look for the engage. Once Toaster has that ultimate, Sir Scott is in a really poor position to deal with it.
Really nice play by Impaler, trying to get round to get this gank off. Not going to pay off for them at the moment. Dragging up in a minute and a half. Nutri a little bit extended into the enemy jungle here, but he will just run his way around and get away towards safety. With the blue buff for Infused being up, they want to make sure they keep the safety on that. Orphan's picked up a Relo Nomicon already. It looks like it's going to be another Athenes for Zivers on that Lulu, so he'll just be trying to get that extra magic resist against a very bursty assassin in the mid lane. Impaler sneaking around the back side of this bottom lane, but not a lot going for Infused at the moment. They're trying to set up ganks, they're trying to do what they can. Orphan's coming down as well. Are they going to tower dive Sir Scott? He's still got heal, they've still got the Fate's Call as well. Here comes Impaler, they're going to go into Sir Scott. Toaster actually taking it out with the Overstorm. Impaler's going to go low, a beautiful Monsoon from Wawa. Actually manages to help pick up the kill there. Toaster doesn't go, it goes to Impaler. Orphan came down as well, but 50 seconds on the Dragon. They decide against pushing up this tower too hard, just going to let that kill off the minions to deny as much CS as possible away from Sir Scott. Yeah,
here we go. Nutri coming in with the Blood Boil onto Zazas. Tundra is very low.
Zazas does have flash though, so he can try and position himself to flash across this wall with the absolute zero. There's the flash. He's going to try and get away. Super Mega Death Rocket has come in. Here it comes. Tundra is the target. Not quite enough. He pops the Sanguine Pool anyway. Zazas will go down to Nutri here. Not going to be able to face up a 1v1 versus that Nunu, and will get taken out. Almost another gorgeous snipe there from Toaster.
Yeah, and I feel like this aggressive lane from Sir Scott and Quince has not worked out just because they did lose that level 2 advantage. And as a result, did lose a lot of pressure in the lane. And Toaster here, ready to do some damage to Quince. Sir Scott is coming in.
Yeah, there is a Fate's Call available here, so they might turn on to Toaster. There we go, Fate's Call, the teleport coming in as well. There's the stun onto Toaster.
Really nice.
Here comes Tundra as well. He's got the Hemo, he hasn't got the Hemo place, so he's got some damage there with the Sanguine Pool. One was going to flash the wall. Here comes Ufun. And they're not going to go in on this one. I don't think the counter teleport comes in because the tower's down. Open picks up one. There's the Ethereal Jones onto Sir Scott. If that can pocket, not quite going to get it. The Twisted Advance coming onto Sir Scott though. Not much he can do anymore. Tundra's going to go down as well. A gorgeous fight for Infused. They waited, they baited, they anticipated, and they pick up the kills. Zivit's going to go down as well. Only Nutri left alive for FM. And the Dragon spawning right now as well. Looks like they're going to push for the tower actually. Infused. What a fight.
I mean, we talk about rhyming, but that was a beautiful song display of
thanks, man, I tried.
a beautiful display of coordination coming out from the Infused roster. They kept those flashes to the very last minute and allowed Wawa and Toaster to escape unscathed, and this is not looking good for FM at this point in time. And Impaler again, 4-0-1, a very high kill participation, and Ulfrin on LeBlanc having a pretty decent game, but more importantly, Toaster on Jinx.
That Jinx is going to scale
Jinx is going to scale so hard.
He's got enough for an IE already. 13 minutes in the game, he's got an IE and some. He can even go towards Zerka boost if he wants a Zeal perhaps as well. He's going to be absolutely massive this early in the game, along with a Janna to help him out with that Eye of the Storm.
I mean, this is going to be so difficult for FM to come back into. Nutri wants to take this Dragon away. Impaler is there. Zazas is there. They're going to go onto Impaler.
Nutri already gets down to half HP. Impaler goes down as well, but here comes the Twisted Advance onto Quince. Death Charge is popped on Impaler. Here comes Zivus. Super Mega Death Rocket is going to connect onto Nutri. Not quite enough damage. Zivus gets caught out by Zazas though. And it's the battle of the Zs and the Xs as they fight against each other in the river. They do need to be careful because here comes Tosa and Wawa. Wawa, of course, with that Overstorm, has got the Monsoon as well. If Zamas has needed some extra peel. But with Nutri having to go all the way back to base, the Dragon is going to go down to Infused. It looked for a moment like they'd given it up by going for that second in the tower, but they are going to take it away from themselves here. Yeah,
Jinx just does really well if she gets ahead against Kalista because of the range discrepancy, and we're seeing that now, even with Wawa just keeping him safe, allowing him to use push throws. That blue buff must have helped no end to allow him to keep up the constant pressure on Kalista.
Oh, Open ignites Zivis, who pops the wild growth, but he will go down, and Open. The thing Ulfrin's been doing time after time is he jumps in with the distortion, but then lands an ethereal chains before he gets whimsied, and it means he always wins the trade against Zivers.
Yeah, exactly. He always lands that ethereal change as soon as he goes down. Obviously, it's pretty quick to do. You have to press the button as soon as you come out of the other side of distortion, but fantastic play here from Ulfrin in the mid lane. And a lot of it is due to Impaler putting pressure on that mid lane too and allowing Ulfrin that little bit more freedom in the mid lane. I think Zivez is having a really poor series since the Cassiopeia game. There's no way you can say about it otherwise. He was 0-6 in the last game. He's 0-4 currently.
He had a great game on Cassiopeia.
He had a great game on Cassiopeia, but they aren't picking it again. They're going for FM have seemed to have gone for a different composition every game. They haven't tried to stick to their guns. They had a really, really solid composition in the first game, but then didn't try and run it again. And unfortunately, it's not paying off for them. Whatever they're doing now, it's just not working.
I feel that Cassiopeia, I can understand why you wouldn't pick Cassiopeia into an Evelyn, just because you know you're going to get camped. But then why would you pick an Orianna who has almost as little mobility as a Cassia?
Yeah, I mean, the Orianna was last game, obviously, and we all said it. We think he would have been better on an Assassin. And again, he's on a support mid lane this time around. A guy who has done so well on all of these carry mid laners.
Ooh, Toasty, just be careful because there's 3 members coming up towards him. Music's going to pop the absolute zero. Impaler is round the corner though. What can they do? Oh, not much because Prince lands the hook. And here comes Sanjay. Pops Sanjay Brew very, very early. And with Wawa and Open coming in, that's perhaps not the best choice. Open does get exhausted though. Nice monsoon from Wawa will keep him alive for the moment. And Open absolutely destroys Tundra. Open, however, needs to be careful because here comes the Scott. He's going to get tons of damage now. Nutri picks up the kill. It's a shutdown and Zibis coming in from the side. Going to get Wawa. He picks up the kill. FM Esports turning this one on its head once more. Impaler will pop down the Stalker's Smite. But look at the damage down onto him with the Ignite. It's a double kill for Zibis, actually chilling Smite, of course. But so much damage coming down from FM Esports. They turn it on its head.
If we can look at that again, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Obviously, Lads in the bot lane just going ahead and pushing the bot lane turret. That is the inhibitor turret, so someone needs to deal with that. No one has gone back yet. Tundra is becoming available. I don't think we're going to be able to get a replay, so we'll have to just
missed our opportunity.
We missed our opportunity for a replay. But anyway, I mean, it was all based on the fact that it was an overextension by Toaster in that top lane, and a great dredge line, and obviously a nice amount of pressure put down by Nutri. I've got to say the monsoon from Wawa was probably...
He used it to keep himself alive rather than to separate the team.
Yeah, and also it saved Tundra to an extent. Obviously Tundra then got burst down by Ulfrin, but Ulfrin had to commit further into the team to get that kill. And that meant that Ulfrin died, and then they managed to follow up and get a good sweep of kills. They've kind of clawed a little bit back here, which is good. And it's also given Ziviz some much-needed gold. He's picked up 2 kills out of that, something that he really, really needed, considering he was 0 kills and quite far behind.
Once again, Tundra perhaps a little overextended, but Open jumps in with the ethereal chains onto Tundra. Double chains, 2 chains. What is this madness? And Open picks up the kill onto Tundra. Zaz is coming in with the right destroy. He's going to try and chase onto Kuntz. There is the twisted advance. Kuntz flashes away, but another ethereal chain from Open as he jumps in will force FM back. And once more, it's a little overextension from one of these teams. And the other team jumps on it in a heartbeat.
Tundra a little bit far up there, thought maybe he was doing more damage than he was. And FM just get an advantage, then throw an advantage. Seems to be how it's going right now. They had a lot of potential to get back into this game, but Infused have just got one of these compositions that's going to get scarier as the game goes on. And I think FM know that. They're getting a little bit desperate to make plays now.
They are. They've got the players to make plays though. Kunst gets onto Open, stuns him up with the staggering blows. Lots of damage there with the crit, but Kunst gets Fate's called back to safety. The Super Mega Death Rocket's going to connect onto Zivers instead of that Nautilus who was the target. But the mid lane tower still quite high on HP here for Infused, so they should be able to back off and defend this one, especially with Tundra in the bot lane.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a good Super Mega Death Rocket attempt, but Fate's School managing to keep Quince alive. And like I said, Quince going for a little bit more tanky build this time around. He's not going for the early. Mikhail's not going to sacrifice the health that he is much needing. And this bot lane from FM, like we said, they've struggled pretty much every game. But I almost feel like everywhere has struggled early on with FM. It's only because they had a really solid late game team fight composition on the first game that they managed to get ahead. It's kind of been doom and gloom for the majority of the FM lanes. And you're kind of seeing that now. No one is particularly having a good time apart from Nutri, and even then that's Nunu. It's not like it's the biggest carry jungler in the world.
Can carry a team, but usually does it just by totally annihilating the enemy jungler. I think it was Odd One who said, your job as Nunu is not to carry, it's to make the enemy jungler have no effect on the game at all. Tundra actually burning TP there to get away from Wawa and Toaster, but I don't think he was spotted. So he burns TP just to get back to his base.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Sir Scott, he's just doing what he can do to get towards a position where he can deal with these tanky frontliners of Xaxus. And even in some respects, Impaler, who's going for a bit more health than you would probably usually see on Evelyn, picked up 2 Ruby Crystals in the meantime, probably going... Oh, what do you think he's going for there? Maybe a Warmogs?
Yeah, quite possibly a Warmogs. I think
Righteous Glory, maybe?
He could be building towards a Locket and was just like, I'll get the 2 Ruby Crystals, get my Kindle Gem towards it as well. Locket would be really
Locket would make sense, yeah. Locket would probably be the better option of the 2. Yeah, go for the Locket for the Kindle Gem and Locket for the Aegis of the Legion, then obviously go towards the Iron Solari. But they're going to go for this next Dragon. I don't know how much FM know about this or how much they want to know about this, because they don't seem to be grouping up at all. They're going to just hand this one over straight to Infused.
There's a ping coming out onto Impaler there, so they spotted him out, or spotted someone out on this ward just coming around the corner. But the Dragon has been started, and Toaster and Wawa should be able to get this one by themselves pretty darn easily. FM Esports on the back foot once more. 12 kills to 6, 3,000 gold the lead, and Towers 3-2 in favour of Infused. Little by little, they're taking their advantages. They're pushing back FM.
FM do well, obviously, in the late game, but you've got to give it to a Jinx. She can practically solo carry from positions in the late game where she's almost untouchable, and you haven't exactly got the best, I guess, true gap closing team on the FM lineup. There's no one that can essentially negate all other champions and just appear on the Jinx's face. That just doesn't happen with the Nautilus. You've got to get through other bodies. Nunu has got to get through other bodies. Even Tundra, in some respects, has got to get through other bodies to get to the back. And if Toaster keeps safe, there's going to be very little that FM can do to take him out.
This mid lane tower still being available for Infused is really strong as well, because it just continually pushes this lane back against FM.
You just need to look at the vision difference between the two teams. You can probably bring it up on your screen.
Yeah, that's FM's
that's
vision.
FM's vision right here.
Oh, Tundra and going to have a little bit of a fight against Xaxus here. Just going to wait for this fight to conclude before we have a look at the rest of the vision. Impaler's coming in as well. Tundra has no escape. He has got a tower, but he hasn't got a life for long. Pops the Sanguine Pool, he's trying to get away, but Xaxus will pick up the kill. And as you said, it's all about vision. This is the vision coming out from Infused.
The entire of the river is lit up almost for the Infused lineup.
There's one ward perhaps in river on the side for FM. Really no control over that river at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's just looking grim for FM at this point in time. When you've got this much lack of vision, there's not much you can do to get yourself back into the game. You can't make picks, you can't do anything like that. With all of the vision control being in Infused's favour, they can make picks left, right and centre, and you're seeing it. They're just getting free reign of ganks. Even at this stage in the game, 21 minutes, Impaler is still making ganks because they've got so much vision control. Really powerful play.
Really strong.
Vision is just incredible coming up from these guys. I've got to say, though, I thought that this game would be closer just based on the fact that the compositions look quite even between the two, but Impaler has just made such a difference in the early stages of the game. In every single one of these best of 3, Impaler has been incredible.
I always thought that Impaler would actually play for FM, because they've got Vlad, so they have to have the Impaler as well, but not the case here. Infused have got that jungler, and he is working his magic for them at the moment. 4-1-5 on that Evelyn. Had a great performance on it in the last game as well. Xaxus this time having perhaps a better time on Maokai than we saw him in the first game, where he wasn't quite as strong as he is now. He's 3-1-3, 2 kills on the Jinx as well. She's almost got towards that Phantom Dancer. Very, very strong lineup coming out here from Infused.
It just feels like FM are tilting.
Yeah.
It just feels
Ziv
like
is specifically.
Yeah, Ziv is specifically, but also Tundra a little bit this game. It feels like they're not got their heads screwed on. They're not thinking about the game the way they were in the first game. Everyone was so careful from FM in the first game. They weren't dying to these ganks as easily. It was so close.
Do you think a bit of that is Evelyn? Just because it's a lot harder to anticipate the Evelyn gank?
Nutri had Evelyn in his back pocket. Nutri can play that champion. It just feels like FM aren't
on the ball.
Yeah, they aren't on the ball. You could roll a boat off this tilt that they're running with.
Roll the boat. Go skiing on the tilt.
Yeah, I mean, you could surf on this tilt. It's a lot of tilt here from FM.
Impaler's going to come around and spot out Scott. He has got quite a few Rend stacks on this though. Impaler will try and steal it away. Here comes the smite. No, the Rend is too strong, but Ulfrin catching out Scott from the side. The smite does come down to slow him down, and Ulfrin's going to go in for this one. Look at the damage. Ulfrin absolutely melts away at Kalista. She's not going to be around. And then we'll be back in and live with action. I mean, we're going to go live. I can promise you perhaps the next 32 seconds or so are not going to be that exciting.
Yeah.
As much as I want to predict there's going to be action as a play-by-play cluster, that's what I enjoy. I mean, Zid is killing minions, doing a good job. We're going to see Sir Scott going to the bot lane. He'll be killing minions as well, probably.
How far do you think a League of Legends character runs?
In a day?
Yeah, I mean, let's predict. How long do you think, in terms of real distance,
if
the mid lane or the top lane is? And what do you think in terms of real distance?
Well, if you look at the size of a character, an average human has about 2-3 foot span between steps.
Do you reckon it's about 200 meters?
I'd say, yeah, probably about 200 meters for half a lane.
Half a lane?
Yeah.
No, I think that's more 100 meters.
I'm not sure, because look at Sir Scott. He's got a 4 foot span, right? And he only covers perhaps 100th of the lane.
Oh, wow, there's a bit of action.
Oh, wait, yeah,
Ulfrin has respawned.
Okay, so now we've had action. Zaz is going to go on to Tundra in the top lane. He tries to TP away. Nicely done, but the Twisted Advance was back up, and Tundra's going to go down here. Impaler comes in, and they do pick up. Oh, Tundra flashes away with Sangre Pool, but that's not going to connect. Tundra transfuses. You're going to die. He's just wasting time. He's wasting as much time as he can. Zazas will pick up the kill with a sapling. Nicely done by him.
He was allowing his team to react so that they could get into a position to either contest Baron or try and go for this mid. Oh my god, the damage on Ulfrin!
Puts damage back onto Ziv. Is only Wawa there. Not going to be able to clear, but Zazas coming in from behind, and here comes Shoot Up as well. Oh, Toaster, sorry, as well. Shoot Up's not in this game. Zivis goes solo. The red buff will be enough along with Zazas. Toaster does take the absolute zero to the face, so he gets exhausted. Zazas going to jump onto Scott. You said pointed, click. They pointed, they clicked, and Toaster picks up Sir Scott. The Kalista goes down. Kunsk is the next target. The Zap not going to connect, but Zazas is chasing.
He's still going for it. Here he goes.
Oh, picks up that kill. Wawa takes up a couple of tower shots for his top laner. Not necessary, but it happens. Infused going to push down mid lane tower. Now in a tower, their second of the game as they took down bot very, very early. Will go down. Toaster pounding away on that one with that minigun, and they will get that extra gold from themselves. 6,000 gold is the lead for Infused. They take away the blue as well. Impaler doing work. 419 on that Evelyn. 614 on Zazas in the top lane. He's really shown up to the party.
They've had some excellent performances this time round from Infused. The two LCS pros definitely stepping up to the plate when they needed to. 419, 614, like you said. And I got to feel like, oh, here we go, Nutri. He's going to get locked up by Zazas. Zazas is the only one there, though.
That's a bit deep because Tundra is coming in from the side as well. Hemoplague does go down. There's the exhaust. Tundra's going to take a bit of damage. Here comes Impaler. Hemoplague is not going to be enough to kill Toaster, who will lifesteal a little bit with that Dawn's Blade. So be able to get himself back up to about a third of HP, and while we're there as well. Infused stayed around a little bit long here. Open trying to get some damage on to Nutri. Ethereal Chains will not proc though. Need to get rid of that scary,
Here comes Impaler.
Here comes Impaler. He backs away straight away though. And there's two members of Infused actually going back to base. So Infused really here are just delaying this dragon as long as they can for Toaster and Wawa to get back in the fray.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that FM currently have any idea that both Wawa and Toaster have gone back to base, but they do manage to pick up the mid lane turret for their worries, close that gold gap down to 5,000 gold, and yeah, I'm trying to think, FM, if they can delay this further and further, they may have more chance of blowing Toaster up, especially Tundra. You saw right there, if Tundra manages to land a Hemoplague and just a couple of other skills, Transfusion and Tides of Blood, you can actually take Toaster pretty low. I think it's going to take that from Tundra. He's going to have to get in the back line and try and solo out Toaster. That's the only way that Infused are going to lose these team fights.
But Tundra is so weak at the moment. He's only got a Luden's Echo and Will of the Ancients. Like, he's not doing... he's doing some damage, but he gets taken out so quickly, even if he tries to get that Sanguine Pool in. And Infused getting the third dragon of the game. 3-1 in favour of them on these dragon scores. Toaster's going to go up towards top lane and get this red buff. That'll get some of the farm as well. He's got his Phantom Dust. He's got another BF sword building probably towards that Bloodthirst. It's something he tends to do. He goes Infinity Edge, Phantom Dust, and Bloodthirst, and then the Last Whisper last, just because it gives him that little bit of extra sustain in these drawn-out team fights.
Yeah, and FM, they're just trying to defend as much as possible. They haven't lost any inhibitor turrets yet, which is pretty solid in terms of keeping themselves healthy and alive and in this game. They are picking up these outer turrets too, so just giving themselves small boosts of cash injections. That's kind of what they need at this point in time. You know, Tundra is close to finishing up as Zhonya's, getting towards points where he's becoming a very scary AP carry. Lots being finished up on Zivis in the mid lane. He's got 1,100 gold, could potentially finish up those boots, which we haven't seen all game, or even go towards, I guess, what would be a Void Staff, or maybe even a Vicious Circuit, but more likely Void Staff.
Yeah, quite possibly just a Void Staff.
And Last Whisper soon to be coming down onto Sir Scott, so FM definitely still have...
They have hope.
They have hope, yeah. That's exactly what I meant going for.
Help with Tundra, you're my only hope. Please. But Impaler trying to deny that hope. He is the dark side of the Force. Playing that, not Grave Robber, Jailbreaker?
Jailbreak Evelyn.
Jailbreak Evelyn, that's the one. Anyway, we do see Infused taking it a little bit slow here. They're just slowly trying to work vision advantages. They've got vision around that Baron. There's a ward here that they haven't quite spotted out yet. And even with Ulfrin being as big as he is, he needs to be a little bit careful. We saw how he can get taken down by Zivis if the combo comes off correctly or incorrectly on the side of Ulfrin. It's a very close game thus far. 0-1-10 actually on Awawa. We talked about his Jano a couple of times. Played it really well this series. Oh, depth charge onto Ulfrin. He does try and jump away. He's got the flash available as well, but there's the Dreadflame. The Hemoplague comes out as well. Mikhail's onto Ulfrin.
He's going to go down.
He's going to go down. Not enough with the Monsoon. The Hemoplague will take him down. Even with the Mikhails coming out from Wawa, it's not enough to keep him alive. Doesn't get rid of the Hemoplague, of course, to remove that Ignite debuff that he had.
They've got to clear so much vision here, but they're going to go for Baron anyway. They're going to try and use the fact that Sir Scott and Lutri can chunk this Baron down. This is a very risky play. Zazas is already in the fray here. SM, they don't have Hemoplague.
He's already got 14 Ren stacks on it though.
Yeah, here we go. Zazas going in here.
There's the Flame Chompers, lots of damage onto Zivis. The Baron is still tanking up onto the Zivis as well. Tundra goes in, but he hasn't got Hemoplague, so Toaster going to stay alive for a huge amount of time. Soon as Deathwish comes in, Toaster, all he needs to do is get excited. They're going to chase. Who are they going to chase onto though? There we go. The answer is Tundra. He gets the transfusion down, but he's not going to get away. Toaster's going to keep chasing onto Sir Scott, who should be able to get to safety, but now Baron is definitely the call for Infused. We've seen a couple of Baron throws in this game. In this
far too risky. Zazas can just walk up to the FM lineup. He's not worried. He can just tank them for days. And there you are. His Toaster is just completely untouched. Without Hemoplague, there is no way Tundra is going to be able to take out Toaster in that backline. You can just see he is untouched this entire fight. Toaster has to, Sir Scott has to get in to fairly close range. Because of the way that Callista works, after every auto attack she jumps with Martial Poise, unless you're standing still. You have to get into positions where you put yourself at risk, and unfortunately against a Maokai who's this fed and this tanky, you don't want to be doing that.
He's got a frozen heart now as well.
And you saw right there, he was just stuck in the middle of the team fight. He didn't die, but didn't have the impact to move around because Zazas was just there, sitting on his face.
He was sitting on his face. It's not as close a game as it was a couple of seconds ago. It seemed like it was close, but now 3-7-1 on that Vladimir, 21 kills to 9, 8,000 gold the lead for Infused. They are definitely in a dominating position here. And with this Baron, they can go for that 1-3 or 1 split, put the LeBlanc in the top lane, put the Maokai in the bottom lane, and they should be able to solidify this game for themselves. Zivis takes so much damage from Toaster. Deary me, 2 crits. He's taking off almost all of his health. Callista off towards the side, needs to be getting careful. Super Mega Death guns come in, but Sir Scott gets taken out by Impaler, who is of course invisible, and Sir Scott is going to get out, dies to Ulfrin. Wow. The Ignite was enough to the next target. Here comes Toaster, flashing the wall onto Zivis. There's no wild ghost, but Toaster doesn't get the reset. Tundra, however, with the Hemoplague will do enough, and now Toaster flashed in. He did get excited, but the zap Monsoon comes out. Toaster will survive for another second. They're going to try and get onto Tundra, who dodges the twisted advance with his Sanguine Pool, and there's no real damage left to Infuse. And they get Impaler. Zaz is tanking up the tower for as long as he can as well, but going to have to try and twisted advance towards Tundra. Tundra trying to sustain himself up with that Ties of Blood. They can chase onto Zazas and Wawa here. Kinsk almost flashes across that Howling Gale, not quite able to do it. And it will end up being a 3-for-2 trade in favor of FM, just because of over-aggression really from Infused.
Yeah, far too aggressive there, going for a very heavy tower dive. They do manage to pick up Sir Scott, and they do manage to pick up Zivis, but Tundra in the back line completely wipes Ulfrin off the face of the map, and then obviously Sir Scott stuck in no man's land. There was no way he was going to escape. Obviously Wawa tried with that Monsoon, but it was not enough, and Last Whisper very shortly going to be finished up on Sir Scott, who has not yet picked up a kill. Does have the money for the Last Whisper, so that should help him deal with that front line of Zazas. And Quinsk now in a very poor position.
But Ulfrin coming around from the side as well, but Nutri is here. What can he do? Ben from Mouse on his top right. Zazas, Sir Scott taking a lot of damage there, and Nutri does go down, so Scott needs to be careful because Zazas and Open can jump on him in just a heartbeat, but the Dragon the next target here for Infused.
Yeah, that was unfortunately just pushed out of position. Nutri attempted to come and save the day, but burst down by Alfred and Zazas right there, giving the 4th Dragon of the game over to Infused. There were glimmers of hope for the FM guys here, glimmers of hope because of some mistakes of Infused, just also because of how strong their composition can be. But it's just not coming to full fruition. It's not that sparkling diamond that they're trying to dig for in the rough. They're finding very small glimmers of glass. That is all they're getting right now. And
the thing is, like, if Sir Scott had picked up a few of these kills, perhaps say Sir Scott was 5-5 instead of 0-5, then there'd be hope. But at the moment, because Toaster is so huge, they have to dedicate all their resources to getting on him in the backline. It's just not enough. The tower goes down. Open can decimate anyone who hits on. And it looks like Infused will back away after taking that inhibitor tower.
Yeah, so Void Staffs on Tundra, Void Staffs on Ziviz. They're going to start to burn through that magic resist that they're facing right now. Last Whisper is up and in the air for Sir Scott. So there is plenty to be hopeful about here for FM. They're definitely not out of the game. They've got some good late game players on their side. They've got Tundra, they've got Ziviz, they've got Sir Scott. They all play very well in the late game. They're all on pretty decent late game champions themselves too. And Ziviz should be able to protect Sir Scott if he doesn't get caught out.
Quite possibly. It's just dangerous. It's a dangerous game here for FM. There's no easy way for them to get back in this game. They need to make plays. They need to be able to pick out members of the enemy team, and it's so difficult against an Evelyn, a Maokai who is absolutely freaking massive, and LeBlanc as well, who's Open has shown us how well he can dodge around skill shots and dodge around abilities in this game. Yes, Whimsy is really strong against LeBlanc because you Whimsy her, she can't distort back, but she's got double distortion. She doesn't need to jump on the Lulu. She can jump on someone else, get the wild go popped, and then Toaster from the backline just wails away on any target.
It's really all about Sir Scott's positioning in the next few fights. Because at the moment, he's been far too close to Zazas, and Zazas knows it. Zazas is waiting to catch Sir Scott out, because if you take out Sir Scott, the sustained team fight damage is going to all come from Tundra. And that's all they've got left in the tank. There's no one else that's going to be providing.
Look at how defensive FM are.
Yeah, I know. They are really, really, really scared. And that's because they've got very little vision on their B side. General, very little vision around the Baron area. Very little vision in general of the key areas that they need to be worried about. And Tundra trying to lead the charge damage.
There they go. They're trying to get onto Toaster. The dredge line doesn't connect, and Ulfrin is off towards the side. They're waiting for Impaler to join. The Sentinel will spot out Ulfrin here, but he can always distort back if he wants to. Impaler gonna come around from the side. It was a little bit of engage. A Righteous Glory is not a massive cooldown, so they won't mind that at all. Nutri does get caught out though. The flash is a bigger cooldown, and Ulfrin will distort in and then distort back, showing his damage there. So Scott's gone down towards the bottom lane. Baron up in a minute and a half, so I expect to see Infused going for this last inner tower in the top side of the map and then rotating up towards that Baron and starting.
Yeah, Nutri's got a lot of resistances, but actually hasn't built too many flat health items. And actually his magic resist is all coming from Locket, which, to be honest, is great for the team, but in terms of your personal magic resistance,
doesn't give you
it's not a huge amount. You really need that Spectre's Cow to do well here. They're going to push this turret down. They've got that Jinx, they've got the Eye of the Storm.
They've got going to be 2 dragons as well, where they've got 4.
This turret is not long for the world.
It's gone.
It's gone already.
Rubble.
Very quick turret taking ability with that Jinx. And 10k gold has been stretched out. 45 seconds till Baron. What can FM do? They've got huge item disadvantages across the board.
Their tilt has turned into a mountain for them to climb.
Yeah, but they have the items on their side to be able to make something happen.
Oh, definitely.
They've got those Void Staffs.
They farm up well as a team as well. Like 320 CS on Vlad, 301 CS on Sir Scott. So even though they fall behind in kills, they're still getting some gold throughout the game, and they're still close enough to the enemy to win out a fight if they fight it perfectly. But at the moment, Infused are showing them they don't really need to fight a lot of the time. The next fight will be around Baron. You have to expect it. It's just really interesting to see how this does go down.
So anyway, we're going to be waiting this one out. Baron will be the next key objective. Dragon up in 1 minute 43. This could be the 5th Dragon of the game if Infused get Baron as well, which ultimately I think will spell doom for the FM lineup. Zazas in the bot lane is just farming and pushing towards that inhibitor turret. And FM are in split minds. They take Quince. He gets a ethereal change, gets away with the dredge line. This is so tense right now. Tundra kind of out of
Tundra gets a ethereal chain, but if you look at the counter damage he puts down onto Open, does get flame choppers up. Toaster has been glitter lanced, and meanwhile Zazas is going to come in from the backside. What can he do? Toaster, depth charge from Toaster. Impaler comes forward though with the Agony's Embrace to slow everyone down. Here comes Zazas, here comes Orphan. What can they do? They're going to run in. There's the Light's Glory Fox. Who they're going to go for? Tundra is the first target, but he's Zonya's and Zangan pulls straight away. Kunz goes in. Toaster has been exhausted, but he's still alive. He's still full HP as well. Tundra doing what he can. Orphan Wawa with the monsoon just to reset the fight. Orphan goes in, picks up Zivers. What can the rest of this team do? So Scott getting tons of damage down. Toaster is still alive, still full HP, and it's 4v1. So Scott, unless you're a god, unless you somehow turned into, I know, Faker in this second, it looks like Infused are gonna take the win. So Scott v Toaster. So Scott has lost this time and time again this game. Zap doesn't connect, but so Scott is pushed back. And it looks like FM Esports are going to lose this game against Infused, at least lose the Baron. And from there, you have to think it's more than Everest for FM to climb back up.
Yeah, they've got a huge hill to climb if they need to come back from this. And they're going to require much more than the odd pick to get themselves on level pegging in this game. They're going to have to require some sort of monumental throw from the Infused lineup. And again, no one touched Toaster that game. It's all about Toaster's ability to stay alive in these fights, stay at the back line with absolutely no fear of getting collapsed on. And you've got to say, it's so difficult for him to follow this one up. I don't even know what to say. They're teleporting for Dragon. They know that the 5th Dragon is going to be...
5th Dragon and Baron is game. Yeah. Like, there's no way that you get back to that if you're
But
FM.
Infused are already here, they're just going to go for a team fight against the
Toaster. If FM starts to fight right now, they might win it. Right. This is their only chance.
Zazas is trying to see this one out against
Tundra is there in the Sanguine Pool. He does get twisted advances on Nutri, pops the absolute zero. Open jumps in, but he can jump back out if he wants. No, he can't, because he gets destroyed. So Scott doing everything he can here to help FM win this game. It's 1v1. Here's Toaster though, and Kunz is the target. All the ultimates being blown. Zazas goes low, Impaler goes low. They're going to retreat back. Toaster with the double. Toaster with the triple. He's going to pick up Kunz as well. He's going to chase down towards this Vlad, but Impaler's going to take down Vlad, and I'm sure that was something. Come on, here we go. Impaler, hate spikes, Sanguine Pool, Hex Drinker, Impaler, hate spikes, Zonya's, the golden Vlad is the deadliest. No, it's not. Impaler's deadlier than you, Tundra, and you get taken out. Infused are going to take the win. They're going to take the Nexus. They're pushing for this inhibitor in the bottom lane. Ziv is trying to do what he can to push out top lane, but with Zazas TPing in, and wow, that's a very quick trade. Yeah, he's going to go for the Nexus towers. That's the first tower going down. Zivis, if he can survive for 10 seconds, if he can keep him alive, Zazas does jump in, but the first Nexus tower goes down. Zivis is going to go down as well to Toaster. So much damage coming out. 6 seconds on Nutri, 8 seconds on Scott, 5 seconds on Kunz. Can FM make an amazing turnaround? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. The Nexus goes. Here it goes. 3 more autos will be enough from Toaster. He goes in there. He goes in there.